temporary geniuses in the kingdom. You'll never hear about the CEOs. Somewhere there are people. I was with Lou Engle a few weeks ago. We're out at, we rented a car because we knew that they're not very organized. You know what I mean there? And we knew that if we depended on them to make sure that we had a ride over to wherever we needed to be, we'd probably be left with all of our equipment. So we just, and I don't, when I do stuff with Lou, I just say, Lou, I just want to be there and help. That's all I want to do. Whatever I could do to help. I don't need anything from you. I don't want to come, do anything. I don't want you to have another thing to think about and getting all organized to get all 6 of us there and all that stuff. So we just come with our stuff, and we rented a big old car and everything. We're getting out of worshiping in the Senate chamber. To my knowledge, it had never been done. You were there, right? Had that ever been done before? I don't think so. People were freaking out. They had to bring all the equipment through all this crazy, the gizmos, like x-ray machines and all this stuff, and get in there, and then we just start worshiping. Well, it's so loud, people are freaking out and run out. They can't be in here. Police are coming. Da, da, da. We're worshiping in the Senate, praying over chairs that will make massive decisions for our nation. Praying and breaking off the spirit of abortion in the land. All these things are happening. We get done, everybody leaves. It's about 10 degrees outside, and it felt like about 18 below. It's freezing. Your ears, when you're walking outside, were just freezing. And we're out there, and I'm waiting, and everybody's kind of gathering all this stuff together, getting it over, and then we're going to be at this other church that night. And I'm driving with my car, and I look, and I see this person with this group of people around him that looks like a homeless man on the street. It's got like a, like a lot of times you see homeless people on the street, they'll have those big jackets that somebody gave them to them that are dirty, and they're like a San Francisco 49ers jacket or something. That's what it looked like on the corner. And there's this woman that I could see holding a child, and it's all wrapped up in a blanket. And I drive up, and I say, oh my goodness, that's Lou. I drive up next to where he is. I rolled down the window. I said, what are you guys doing out here? It's freezing. They said, oh, they lost our car, and they left us here. Everybody had left them. 1,000 people in the Senate chamber, everybody left them. They didn't even know where their car was. I said, get in the car and warm up. So they got in the car, and they're all huddled in the car, sitting on the car, and God gave me a CD recently that I'm putting out called Great River Road. And it's the first thing that I've put out in the mass market in a long time, and it's basically a prophetic word to the nation. And one of my friends, Bill Miller, Indian, is on it, literally speaks over the nation. And the Lord spoke to me to dedicate it to Lou and Therese for what they've done and their sacrifice for the nation, especially dealing with the issues of abortion and justice in the land. So I'm telling them this, and they're like crying, We're all in this car, and I told the guys, I said, and Lou probably would see this and not want me to say this, but I said, that is a man that history will write about. A man that gets left on the street with his family. Some of the things that God has had him do. And I've seen everybody. I haven't met many people that have the dedication to suffer through what you have to suffer through. And you know what I mean. It's easy to play the game. But Paul doesn't play the game. He says, I'm a smart guy. But there's an apostolic vulnerability that has to take place for anything eternally to be received. And so he says, I'm not going to boast in any of this stuff. Because I might desire to boast, but if I boast, I'll be a fool. for I will speak the truth. But I refrain lest anyone should think of me above what he sees me to be or hears from me. Do you see this in the Spirit? This is an apostle. This is what it means to be an apostle. There's a lot of talk about apostles. You could see a lot of them in Charisma Magazine. Nothing wrong with Charisma Magazine. It's not even the publishing or any of those guys or Strang or any of those guys. I'm sure they're not the ones that do it, but you could see all kinds of self-proclaimed apostles. I remember my father-in-law telling me years ago, I don't want you to put any adjectives on the back of your CDs. I don't want you to put any adjectives on anything you write. No adjectives. You know why? Because it's not the truth. It's not the greatest CD, and if it doesn't sell, then it doesn't sell. You don't have to put adjectives on it to try to make it sell. Well, that's a little bit hard, Dad. Come on. No, it isn't hard. Jason, what God called you to do, He called you to do, and you'll see. You don't have to lie to get it received. The bottom line is it takes more confidence, doesn't it, to be like Paul than it does to be like the average apostle in our day. Well, let me say this. It takes more gall to do that than it does to be like the average worship leader, just so apostles don't think I'm coming down on that. Let me just say it this way. It takes more to be like Paul than it does to be like me. If that makes you feel any better. Because the word isn't at the church, it's at me. Because I don't want to be an ass in the kingdom so that I can be loved by man. And lest I should be exalted above measure by the abundance of the revelations. And you don't want to be an ass in the kingdom either. Because one day we're going to stand before that king above all other kings. And he's going to look at us, and it's not going to be in the spirit anymore. Everything's going to be revealed. And he's going to look at you, and you're going to see him. And you're going to recognize him and see him as he is. And when you see him, I believe it will flash in your memory every time he was there in your midst and you never listened to him. Any prophetic word I've ever gotten, I've always gotten from my wife first. But I'd rather stand in line than get my wife to give me a word. Right? And my children, they're grooming, the Lord's grooming them right up, man, and I'm just waiting for it. And you know what? It doesn't feel good to get a prophetic word from your wife. It doesn't feel good because they get right down into the, and they don't even have to yell or scream or dance or swirl around in a circle or speak in tongues. They just say it. And here's Paul. And lest I should be exalted above measure by the abundance of the revelations, a thorn in the flesh was given to me, a messenger of Satan to buffet me, lest to be exalted above measure. I remember the revelation thing. This is really powerful. My daughter Emma wasn't sleeping through the night. 1 full year of not sleeping through the night. I used to take her in the middle of the night to give Rachel a break. She had this thing called reflux. And so the poor kid wouldn't sleep through the night. So I was complaining and frustrated. I felt like, God, I've served you. I was a virgin when I got married. I never did drugs. I never smoked pot. I was thinking of anything I could say to him. Everything I've ever given you, Lord, I've given it all to you. I'm trying to give you the glory. All of a sudden, the Lord said, I want you to be present to me. Now go take care of your daughter.